welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a series of digital-first conversations that we do here, bringing you the most topical issues and giving you, the entrepreneur, the chance to participate, asking your questions directly to a panel of experts. I'm Sunanda Jayasseelan. We're continuing to focus on the ripple effects of the Russia-Ukraine crisis on domestic industries. Today, we bring you highlights from Masterclass that we did, speaking about the impact on the agri-tech as well as the hospitality space. What's going to happen to food prices here in India because of all the changes that we're seeing as far as oil is concerned, inflation, etc. All of that being answered by our experts tonight. Let me introduce them. Nikunj Gupta, CFO Chai Point, Tausif Khan, CEO and co-founder Gramophone, Zain Khwaja, Executive Director of US Pizza, Jasper Reed, Founder IMM, CEO Jamie Oliver Restaurants, and Wendy's. Let me kick this off by asking the four of you, perhaps you want to take 20, 30 seconds to maybe talk about something that's exciting at your business right now. Let me come to you first, Jasper, to kick this off with your opening comments.
Thanks, Nanda. Look, we run a restaurant group with 30 physical restaurants in 7 cities, and we operate 100 cloud kitchens around the country. We're excited to be hopefully past COVID. That's the first thing to say, and excited by customers coming back and serving customers. It feels like an exciting time. Probably the competition has thinned out a bit. So for those still here, yeah, congratulations, and maybe there'll be more to go around. Having said all of that, and this is one of the topics here, there are headwinds. There are inflationary headwinds, whether they're exactly to do with Ukraine, we can debate. There's challenges around supply chain. There's challenges around labour. But I think by and large, big picture, we're super bullish on the future of F&B and hospitality in India. So I'm delighted to join you, Sunanda, and my esteemed panelists today.
Thanks, and we're delighted as well to have you here with us, Jasper. I'll come back to a couple of those points that you raised in your opening comments, but let me come to you, Tausif, as the sole representative on today's masterclass from the agri-tech space. Just briefly talk to us. I know Gramophone is always in the news, fundraising at the forefront really of the agri-tech space, but anything that you want to flag off for our entrepreneurs today about something that's in the works, anything on the cards you can flag off for us?
Sure, Sunanda. Hi, I'm Tausif, co-founder and CEO of Gramophone. We work with almost like 1.6 million farmers across the central and northern India, and we help them basically grow the crops in a better way. And we close the loop by basically helping them sell the produce to the end like consumer and the processors through our platform. I think the times especially for agri-tech companies are pretty exciting. There is a lot of change that has happened, and primarily driven by the smartphone penetration across the country over the last 3-4 years, which has opened a lot of new opportunities. But I think the challenges with Jasper mentioned are pretty similar in the industry, and it adds up a little bit more because these are the remotest part of the country that we are trying to reach. So we've built a lot of different kind of supply chains to basically improve the income of the farmers. From the current perspective, I think India has a lot more opportunities because overall globally, if we see that Russia and Ukraine had around 30% contribution of exports in wheat, which has been impacted overall, which has opened a lot of like new opportunities. And on the other front, there are inflationary problems, which you mentioned, Sunanda.
Sure.
I think we can touch over all these aspects.
Absolutely. Zain, I'm coming to you next. In fact, we've started getting questions already from our audience. And the first one is coming to Zain. I will come to that in a moment. But Zain, the next 20, 30 seconds for your opening comments.
Absolutely. So Sunanda, US Pizza has been in the market for over 2 decades. We're a company of steady growth because India is a country of steady growth, especially demographically.
Yeah.
And I think the thing we are most excited about is how the Northeast has now started trade linkages and supply chain has been integrated into the rest of India. So the expansion there is exciting, ongoing, and we're hoping to see that we can obviously at some point charge the same prices in the external states as much as we do in the metros.
Okay. Nikunj, I'm sure everyone who's logged in today at some point has definitely visited one of your, one of your QSR restaurants. But what's exciting? What's new? What's brewing really?
Yeah, what's brewing really? First of all, excited to be on your show. So thank you so much. I think I'll echo what Jasper said. Just the fact that hopefully COVID is behind us. People are out in the market, excited to be part of this post-COVID growth that is sort of buzzing all around. But specifically at Chai Point Sunanda, what we are trying to build is really a consumer tech brand. And within that, what we've been working on for several years now, but has sort of taken final shape, is how we've integrated tech in the way chai and coffee is brewed. So we've been able to take it to a level of sophistication where a large part of the manual intervention, manual dependency has been eliminated at one end. But at the other end, we are also working to be able to give control of the recipe in the consumer's hand for him or her to be able to personalize their chai. They want more sugar, more milk, less karak, more karak. What kind of tea blend do they want? Assam, Nilgiris, and all of that. So that's really what we're excited about, to be able to give the power of personalization in the hands of the consumer. We hopefully will be going to market with that feature very soon.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what is exciting.
What I'm personally interested in knowing, Nikunj, is has filter coffee, and I haven't tasted it at your company, but I'm just asking, has filter coffee been mastered? Because no matter where you taste it, unless you're going to a Darshini in South India, no one seems to have mastered that. That's what I'm curious about.
No, absolutely. I mean, we are an omni-channel brand, so we don't not only have stores, but we also have our vending machines installed in 2,000 plus corporates. Our vending machines dispense both tea and filter coffee. So we are amongst the highest sellers of filter coffee in the country. And that is dispensed through our automated brewing system. So
sure.
We'll be happy to get you over and give us a verdict on our filter coffee as well.
Look forward to that, definitely, Nikunj. Let me come back to the questions that we started getting from our audience. The first one is coming in for Zain. Let me take my first question. This is coming to us from Netra. She says she is a senior accountant with Viva Consulting. She says this is a question for Zain. What does it take for a family-owned company like yours to survive and thrive in such a competitive environment?
That's a good question. I guess I would say that what we have done especially is focus on our core competency. For us, that would be pizza. We have found our niche in the market, which would be a little bit outside of metros, and also get trustworthy people. I would give the names of trustworthy people, but they probably get poached, so I won't.
Fair enough. We'll give you that one, Zain. Let me come back to the theme of today's masterclass, which is the impact that we're seeing as far as Russia and Ukraine is concerned, and also what's happening in Sri Lanka and coming off what perhaps has been the worst of the pandemic and the successive waves that we have seen, and its impact as far as the food industry is concerned. And I want to talk about the outlook in terms of prices for 2022. To you first, Tausif, offline we were just talking about that you seeing a 30% increase almost when it comes to the cost of certain fertilizers and the ripple effect, therefore, that has on several industries, including the hospitality industry. Just talk to us about your outlook for the rest of this year.
Sure. So I think there are 2-3 factors. One is the fertilizer, which goes in growing of the crop, and then the other agrochemicals and biological products which the farmers require. So a lot of parts of that is anyway dependent on India doesn't have it imports a lot of fertilizers, right? So you especially MOP and DAP, these are two products which is imported from Russia and Ukraine, some parts of it. So there we have seen that there is a consistent increase in prices. And then on the other agrochemical, there are products called which have seen almost 25 to 35% increase in the prices. And then secondly, what has happened is that because of the disruption of supply chain, shortages being created in the markets. So we expect that if the prices go up in the same way, then the cost of production will go up, and there could be pressure on the government for increasing the MSPs of the products as well going forward. So those are some of the areas where there is a negative impact. But I think overall, if I look at the situation currently, it has opened up a lot of market for India to export products like wheat, especially wheat, I would say. India is a surplus in production. The FCI godowns are also full. And if we look at the data in FY21, there was almost 2 million tons of export that had happened. But in FY22, it was around 7 million. And this year, the numbers are expected anywhere between 10 to 20 million tons. So that is one thing which has increased the prices of wheat as well.
Sure. Nikunj, as someone who's then using, of course, several of these products, or most of these products really that we've been discussing with Tausif, what's your outlook for inflation for this fiscal?
I mean, inflation is definitely a concern. I'll give you another example. Ukraine is the largest producer of sunflower oil in the world. 90% of sunflower oil imports of India are from Russia and Ukraine, although only 10 to 12% of Indians consume sunflower oil. But Chai Point as a brand sort of is very particular on the quality of ingredients that we use in our products. So we only use sunflower oil or better oils. So that's another example of, inflationary sort of impact on our costs. So yeah, I mean, inflation is certainly a risk. And this environment of the macro unpredictability, that in general is really what I worry about more than individual sort of commodity prices.
I'll slip into a short break on that note. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. This is a question that is coming to us from Rachel Raymond. She says, not just food grains, etc., but also oil prices. I want to hear perspective of all the panelists as far as oil price concern, rising oil price and concern for the food industry. Open to all four of you. Maybe Zain, I could come to you on this first.
So there's definitely opportunity, not just in restaurants, hospitality, or food, but across the board. Any industry you see, the structure of trade linkages is changing. And you'll find arbitrage opportunities everywhere in there. In fact, for me, it's a problem right now that I can't get the best ovens that I want, but finding other players, domestic players who can fill that gap.
Okay. Nikunj and Tausif, do you both also want to respond to this one?
Sure. So I think I'll cover a little bit on the edible oil front, probably. So I think India overall is around 25 million tons. Need of edible oil is there in India, while we produce around 11 million tons. So I think that is very natural that a lot of dependency on imports is already there, and the rate at which the production is growing is around 3 to 4% year on year. So with this, I think we've seen that edible oils prices have gone almost like doubled over the last couple of years. In fact, like in a year. And secondly, I think globally, like if we talk about soya as a commodity, we've seen Argentina and Brazil are the larger producers of soya as a commodity, and there is disruption over there, and there is shorter production in these countries as well. So India overall contributes only 3% to soya cultivation. So it's an importer of that commodity as well.
Yeah.
So I think edible oil, because of all these factors, has always been on the rise, and I don't see that it would kind of improve in the immediate future. There has to be policy push to actually grow more of edible oils. This year we have seen that mustard overall acreages have increased in India. So I think mustard production is increasing a little more than in general over the last few years. So I think from the oil front, that is my take. And otherwise, petrochemicals and others, probably I think I would not be the right person to comment on that.
Let me come to Nikunj perhaps on that one. Nikunj?
Yeah, no, look, there are challenges and there are opportunities. Challenges are the obvious ones. The inbound logistics, outbound logistics is a significant portion of our unit economics. So, oil prices increasing naturally have a margin erosion impact, and it worries all of us. But what we've been able to do over the years, as I was saying, is we've been systematically investing in our technology. So just to give you a very simplistic view of the world of chai making, right? At one end, you have the local chai wala who makes chai on a CNG sort of gas stove, and other end we have our advanced brewing systems which are run on electricity. So for someone like the local chai wala, the CNG prices are going up, and that has impact on his input cost, versus us where we've been able to automate. And because we've eliminated the CNG or petrochemical dependency on our core product, we've also been able to create that competitive advantage. So some positives and some negatives as far as we are concerned on petrochemicals.
Jasper, would you like to add to that? And then I'll take our first poll question for our audience.
I think the panelists have broadly covered it. I mean, I think it slightly depends what kind of a player you are.
Sure.
I mean, with my team, I take the view that it's a good opportunity to just be more efficient. Do more of the stuff that Nikunj is doing, cut the flab, etc. So I'd rather not have high oil prices, but are we as lean as we could be? Probably not. And this is a bit of a kind of kick in the behind to work a bit harder.
Sure. Let me take our first poll question. It's coming up on your screen for all of you who've logged in this evening to our Masterclass Live. The question we're asking you, this is a yes or no question. Will the tourism industry being affected, with the tourism industry being affected in Eastern Europe, is this an opportunity for the domestic hospitality industry to flourish? That's the question we're asking you. This is a question that's coming to us from Abhishek Gupta. Our next question. He says he's Group Vice President at Pace Finance, I assume. He says, with rising commodity prices, a big concern for India's middle class, how governments are planning to control, or how is the government planning to control this issue? Would anyone from today's masterclass want to tackle that?
So I think I'll just point out from some of the commodities which I have already mentioned. So I think there will be a little more pressure on the government, but India still in a lot of commodities has a lot of surplus stored. So I don't think from a inflation perspective it will go beyond a point because I think those are stocks that can be released over a period of, especially wheat is not a larger problem, and it touches the almost 90% of the population, right? So other than this, other commodities, yes, there will be a little a bit of inflation, but overall, I think the economic conditions are getting better.
Sure. The response to our first poll has come in. The question we had asked our audience was, with hospitality being affected in Eastern Europe, is this an opportunity for domestic hospitality? 91% of you have said yes. 9% have said no. Out of time on tonight's masterclass. That was part 1. We'll continue taking in questions from entrepreneurs on different aspects as far as the food industry and food inflation here in the country is concerned. For tonight, it's a wrap, but here's what's coming up on part 2.
If you're in the food game in India, which is a relatively low volume market, it's an extremely hard game.
Right now is the time to focus more on economics, which basically keeps you your business more sustainable.
Build a business that is on sound unit economics, because the most fundamental de-risking strategy is to not create a business model, economic model that rests on hope.